Welcome everyone to another episode of idoaffirm's affirmation conversations. Today, we are going to be discussing nurturing gratitude, progress, and purpose. In this episode, we dive deep into the realm of self confidence and overcoming the challenges that hinder personal and professional growth. Today, we want you to explore powerful affirmations that serve as antidotes to self doubt, empowering you to banish imposter syndrome, which is also another conversation that we will have explicitly later on this season. Our discussion today will extend to the impact of childhood traumas on self confidence and address strategies to conquer self doubt, foster resilience, and pave the way for a more confident, empowered you. So, before we begin, I, of course, have to give a spotlight to our three panelists today. These people were definitely not chosen by accident, but with intention. So, I'm going to start with Erica Cole. Erica currently serves in the Active Guard Reserve, or called AGR, as the outgoing chief paralegal in Tampa, Florida. She's been in the Army for over 22 years and will begin her retirement transition this summer. Throughout Erica's military career, she's held several positions, most notably as a paralegal instructor for advanced individual training and a curriculum design developer and a distance learner instructor at the Judge Advocate General Legal Center and School in Charlottesville, which is what is called the regimental home for that branch of the Army. Erica completed a 15-month deployment to Iraq. She's had 2 dependent restricted tours to Korea, which means basically that Erica has to go, the kids have to stay. And she managed, led, developed, and organized the Army's JAG Corps' first distance learning courses, the Paralegal Competence Course, the National Security Law Primer as well. Erica's education includes a bachelor's degree in political science and advanced paralegal studies, where she graduated summa cum laude. So, congratulations on that from the University of Providence. And she also has a master's of arts in law from Regent University School of Law. You go, girl. And that's not all. Erica also has a real estate license for the state of Florida and has several special certifications. Basically, she does it all. I definitely want to shine a light on her commitment to community service, which has earned her 2 Presidential Volunteer Service Awards from former President Barack Obama. Erica is the CEO of the youth mentorship organization GGCs. She's married to Corey Cole, who is an amazing barber in Tampa. So if you're there, you need to get hooked up. He does have a mobile, a mobile barber truck. He's amazing. And she is also the proud parent of 3 children. Her son Eric is 20. He goes to college in Atlanta. She has an 18-year-old named John and an 11-year-old princess named Chloe. She, of course, enjoys volunteering, but she also enjoys cooking and spending time with her family. So welcome, Erica, to our chat. Aaron, Coach Aaron. Aaron Hunnell is a wellness strategist, author, military veteran, and ultra endurance athlete who believes that people are the greatest gift in life. Excuse me. We will keep in all these flaws because we are not perfect. So if I cough, don't worry. I'll pick myself back up off the ground and we just gonna keep it moving. Aaron's work has influenced the hearts and minds of thousands of people all over the world as he empowers them to live authentic, fulfilled lives. After struggling with his own physical and mental health from multiple deployments, he unlocked a passion for life through endurance racing. Aaron uses his 16 years of leadership experience combined with his education in behavior and organizational change to create high-performing people and workplaces. And you'll be able to definitely tell once he starts talking that this is where he's supposed to be. This is his realm. Aaron also stays involved in the community like Erica. During the pandemic, he started a project called Ride to Stop Suicide, which aims to put bikes in the hands of veterans all around the United States. As part of the campaign, and while crewed by his team, he rode 3,000 miles on a bike in 22 days from Oceanside, California to Annapolis, Maryland, to raise money and awareness to reduce veteran suicide. Aaron is a certified wellness practitioner, a certified intrinsic coach, WellCOA Top 25 National Wellness Professional, but his favorite titles are husband, dad, friend, and human. Aaron, welcome. We're going to talk back about that ride to stop suicide. I remember that because it landed you in the hospital from dehydration, from what I remember.
Almost died.
I know.
Wow.
Literally, I remember following that journey. And then we also, rounding out our panel today, we have Clavadis Parker. Clavadis was born and raised in Southern Mississippi. You're going to hear the accent in her voice, and you're going to see it in her mannerisms. I love, love, love my Southern folks. She is a mom to 3 children. Clavadis, if I mess up these names, please let me know because they are incredibly unique and different. But they're so pretty, though. Zakaria,
Yes, got it.
Zephaniah,
Zephaniah.
Zephaniah, okay, and Zakai.
Yes.
Oh, those are super cute. I love those. So she has some Z names. I think that's really cool. You have a Q name, which is unique in itself, and then your kids have Z names, which is incredibly unique,
Yeah.
and they're very, very, very nice names. She's also has Army background. She's been in the Army for 13 years and is still currently serving. She was trying to be humble. I didn't ask her to, so she didn't add very much else to her bio. So what I'm going to do is turn it over to you real quick to just give us some more about yourself, because you're not just a mom and a soldier. Who are
No,
you?
so many layers to that question. With the Z names, that comes from my grandmother's name, Zira. So the Z names comes from my grandmother, and all 3 of their names are biblical names. So that's where I got that from.
I love that.
I am currently serving as the AXO to TJAG and DJAG at IJAG and the Pentagon. I have a bachelor's of science in psychology with a cognitive and life coaching. I have a master's of arts in human services counseling, and I'm currently in another master's degree program in clinical and mental health counseling with Liberty University. My passion, as you can tell, is mental health and mental health counseling. So that's what I look forward to doing when I retire from the Army. I don't know. I'm just a jack of all trades, and that's just a little bit about me.
I love it. I love, first of all, that I have been so blessed to know so many different types of amazing people. Like, I know it's okay to be humble, but it's also okay to boast about yourself a little bit. And Erin, Erica, and Q, you all have some amazing bios. And I really thank you so much for being here to have this conversation with me today. So, throughout our conversation, let's approach each topic with an attitude of curiosity and receptivity. Feel free to share your experiences, your insights, and any challenges openly, knowing that your collective perspective enriches the collective understanding for those of our viewers. As we explore the intersection of gratitude, progress, and purpose, let's remember that growth is not linear. It's okay to stumble, to question, to evolve. What matters is the journey that we undertake together, supporting and uplifting each other along the way. So, we're going to dive into the discussion with open hearts and minds, and be ready to uncover the profound impact that affirmations have on our lives as well. Of course, this company is an affirmations based company. I founded this company in 2021 um, to empower and promote positive thinking and self empowerment. So there is nothing better than to have this conversation about cultivating gratitude, celebrating progress, and embracing our purpose with unwavering determination. So I'm going to thank you all again at the end, but I want to thank you here up front for being here, taking the time out of your day to just have this discussion and offer some gems, because I know the 3 of you are really good at dropping gems. So we're going to start with just talking about gratitude and what gratitude means to you personally, and also how do you practice that in your daily life. I'm going to let you answer that, Q.
Gratitude for me is just being thankful. Thankful and grateful and accepting the good and the bad. Um, learning from those not so good experiences. Being thankful that they allow you to grow and they push you to be the best version of yourself. And also being thankful for the blessings in life that come your way. And being accepting of that. So that's what gratitude is for me.
Thank you. That's awesome. Erin, what do you think?
Yeah, gratitude to me is about being in the moment. Like a lot of people, I get caught up either thinking about the past, the things maybe I made a mistake or wish I would have done better, or planning for the future, where I'm like, oh, I gotta like figure out how to solve all these problems that I have coming my way in the next week, the next month, the next year. And for me, gratitude is like self regulation. It's like deliberately being in the moment, even when it's hard, and unlocking the now, which is really the only moment in time where you can make a choice. So that's what gratitude is for me.
Thank you, Erin. Great. Erica?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To deal with other people in the space. So being grateful and having that gratitude is definitely it takes a holistic approach.
I agree. Absolutely. So please feel free, any one of you all, to jump in if you want to share. But how about an experience where gratitude played a very significant role, whether that was in your personal life or your professional growth? Anything you can think of.
Um, I think the experience that always comes to my mind, and it is like still pretty recent, is during COVID. Like I struggled with being around people. Like when we had to go back to work, COVID for me, like I was so afraid of getting COVID and then giving it to my mom, because at that time my mom lived with us. And then something, happening to my mom because she's not as young as me, like, and she
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to get over the sickness as well, maybe as fast as I would. So I had a lot of fears around being in close quarters with people going back to work. But my boss at the time, my SHA at the time, Colonel Dowdy, allowed me. He was like, "Look, you do not have to come in this office if you don't want to. You can do your job perfectly teleworking." So he allowed me to go back home, and I teleworked for over a year. He allowed me
Wow.
just yeah, he allowed me to go home, do my job from home, because he knew how afraid I was of being in the office. So I'm always grateful for that type of leadership, and I want to pay it forward. Always want to pay it forward in the future, and if it's something that's small that I can do for my soldiers to help alleviate struggles that they have, I will always do that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let's give a shout out to that leader that you mentioned, because especially when we're talking about having the opportunity to have the autonomy to
Yeah.
say, hey, I want to work from home. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do a great job. I don't physically need to be sitting in this office. And he literally must have knew that about you, believed that about you, and
Yeah.
decided, I'm going to meet you halfway. So let's give him some kudos there, because that's pretty awesome. What about you, Aaron or Erica?
Gratitude for me is, I think it's just something that I live on a daily basis. But and it kind of helps structure my character and like who I am, because I'm an extremely humble person. Sometimes to my own detriment, but I'm an extremely humble person, and I'm an extremely grateful person. And I think a lot of it stems from my faith, because I feel like if you have gratitude for the things that you have currently, it will you will definitely be blessed for the things that you want when it's time for you to have those things.
Mhm.
And then in my professional um, career, I learned just how powerful gratitude is. Because if you have other soldiers or your subordinates, they want you to show the gratitude for what it is that they do. So if they feel like, you're grateful for it, they will then in return feel appreciated. And when a soldier feels appreciated, there's so much power as a leader that you can get done just by
Mm-hmm.
appreciating what it is that whatever that mission that you gave them, appreciating them as a person, showing gratitude for them going above and beyond, what it is, just their daily life, because they have lives too. And so I really tapped into the power of showing gratitude in from a leadership perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's absolutely true. I'm gonna work harder for you if I feel that you are
Yep.
grateful for what I have contributed and I feel like I am appreciated. I agree. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, as I was just listening to those first two responses and then what Erica was saying there, I was thinking about what you appreciate appreciates. Like what
Hmm.
you are thankful for
Mm-hmm.
is in value. And for me, like I'm just thankful to be alive, first and foremost, but I like to work that backwards and say, like, if I want to keep appreciating life and increasing the value that my life brings, because it's really just such a short amount of time in the grand scheme of, space and time and how long people have existed and how long things will continue to go. But I love just having gratitude in all of like the small moments, because it's all those small moments that really make up life. Like even
Yes.
my kids aren't as young as they used to be. I got 5 and 8, but when they were kids, like changing diapers and just having gratitude, because like that's the currency of having kids. You got to change diapers. You got to get your hands a little dirty, and but the sense of the depth of love that you get to experience as a parent, like there's no other feeling, and so it's like taking small things that maybe even we don't want to do or like, but having gratitude for them, like being able to take the stairs. Not everybody can take the stairs. Being able to drive yourself to work. Not everybody has a car or can drive themselves. Having a job, like not everybody's got a job. Like just
Hmm.
appreciating, even having a cup of coffee, like just appreciating the small things day in and day out. That's what makes up life. So if you want to be thankful for life, you got to be thankful in the small moments. So I find
Mm-hmm.
being thankful for the small things is an effective way to look at life.
I
Oh,
love that.
and
No.
to piggyback off that, well, I hate that word, so I'll try to use a different word.
That's one of those corporate words to
We're piggybacking.
piggyback.
Just
We're all piggybacking here.
but use it. So stairs. Speaking of being grateful for stairs, I am extremely grateful for stairs. Before I hated taking stairs until last weekend I went on a trip, and so I was staying at this hotel, and then a few of us, it was probably about 6 or 7 of us that all got onto an elevator. And then we push the button to go up, and the elevator goes up, but it stops. The entire elevator stops. We are stuck on the elevator. We are stuck in between floors. They have
Oh
to call the
no.
fire department to come get us
Mm-hmm.
out. They had to break us out and then pull people out and take people out. And I was like, after that, I will no longer tell you that I hate the stairs. And I took the stairs. I took my luggage up and down the stairs, and I was on the third floor. I didn't care.
Oh wow. Well, I didn't.
Gratitude.
Yes,
Right,
gratitude.
exactly.
Gratitude are like they're like stairs. Oh, I'm going an analogy right now, right? Because I love that story, because sometimes people just want to get up to the top, right? Like in life, it's
Yeah,
like I want to go from like right here all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And gratitude is like those steps, that help
it
you
is.
ascend, into your potential, stepping into your power in life. Gratitude helps you do that. I love that.
No, it's funny because when
Got
you
some
started
vibes going.
talking about being grateful for being able to walk upstairs, I'm like, okay, I think I'll be a little more grateful. My knees are terrible. I am not good at walking upstairs.
I
Honestly, I
don't know
wish
if
I
y'all
had
ever
an elevator.
seen. I don't know if y'all seen Jess go up and down some stairs.
Yes.
Right. I go sideways.
The
I think the
funniest
title
thing.
is progress, right?
Yes, one step at a time.
Yep,
I'm
one
like,
step at a time.
look, my knees ain't so good, but I use my hips now. I go sideways up the stairs. And so I'm laughing when you start talking about stairs. And it's funny that Q knows. And I'm sure Erica has definitely probably paid attention or probably didn't even realize it. But you talking about stairs, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be grateful for those things. They hurt. My knees are terrible. And Erica, and so I'm thinking I wanted an elevator, but now Erica's talking about she had to be pulled out of one. I don't know. I think I'm just going to be grateful for the knees that I do have, because at least I have legs underneath them. and just keep ascending them stairs one at a time, no matter how bad my knees are scraping up against each other. So that's funny. We talked a little bit about progress when Aaron gave his analogy of gratitude being like climbing the stairs. So how do each of you define progress in your journey towards a goal? How, like, what do you see as progress? Do you say, okay, if I've accomplished the goal, then that's progress, or taking it step by step? How would you define that? Let's start with Aaron.
Oh, there's